Hello there. Well, it's Monday. I think it's the fourth day since the lockdown started. I'm calling it the lockdown because that is what it really is here in Norway and in many other countries as well. And I made a video about this on my main channel. So if you haven't seen that, and if you're not up to date on the situation with the plague, as I call it, Woodward's Island, good to see you. Bolters, Norseman Bushcrafting, hi there, hello everyone. So for those of you, I mean, I know Norway is not the center of the universe, so, but basically Norway is it's not completely closed, but it's not easy to get here now. And as Norway is doing what I think almost all the other countries, sensible countries, hi there Tony, are doing now, closing down schools, universities, everything, closing the borders. So that's the situation, and it seems very obvious now that when it comes to the plague, and it's a code word that I'm using because I like money. I'm sorry. Hi there, Jona. No, it's a demonetization and everything. You know, I don't care on the main channel. I don't care. But let's keep this video monetized. So I'm going to try to say the plague. Yeah, it's it seems obvious that if you self-isolate, then you will be less at risk of becoming infected. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of an look at this now. Now this is what they do. And very often they just leave the trees lying there. It's I shake my head at that. But anyway, I'm going to give you a little bit of an no lockdown for a Viking. It's true. Well, no, there is no industry here. People here aren't very industrious, if you get my meaning. So for 4 days we have been, my family has been in isolation. And I think we're doing quite well. There is something called cabin fever, and I can see that, you know, for the kids it's very easy to get bored, and you know, they have their computer games and but they can't, you know, they can't sit there and play computer games all day. That's just not acceptable. But when you're a kid, you know, that's it's up to us grown-ups to give them some, give their I think the days need to be meaningful, and that's our responsibility as grown-ups. So we made, my son and I, my daughter is very much, she's older, so she's very much, you know, she's chatting with her friends on not Skype but FaceTime, and so she so she's keeping in touch with her friends like that. And but me and my son, we made a box, a wooden box. A couple of days ago, we made a wooden box for what's it called? LP Records. You know, the birds. The old records, the old kind of records, the big black ones that we used to have. And those have become very popular, and he's very interested in music. So we made a box for those. Maybe today we will make a bird, not bird box, bird case for the birds to live in. So a few projects like that. They have homeschooling, which I notice is like the work that they, no, not a bird feeder, but you make a box and with a hole in, and the birds can live there and have their nest inside there. Birdhouse, yes. So if there are 6 hours at school, and the amount of work that they get, a list of pages and things that they are going to go through, like extended homework in a way. And my kids, they do that in, of course, because they're geniuses, but we're not talking 6 hours. So it's a lot. What I'm trying to say is that homeschooling seems to be a lot more effective. A lot more effective than being at school. For me, things are not very different. I have home office, and I've always had a home office, and I write best when I can just self-isolate. As I said, I self-isolate anyway, so it doesn't make a big difference for me. In fact, I'm noticing that I'm more effective now than I usually am, because the other businesses everything is slowing down. So that means I get fewer emails, and only the very necessary emails are sent, which is a good thing. Okay, I'm crossing the stream. Let's see. Yeah, but of course, not everything is yes, less. I don't want to say the word in the live stream, but yeah, it's less emails. It's a good thing. So at the moment things are good. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I can say the same in a week's time. I don't think this is something that will... Hi there, Trish, good to see you. I don't think this is something that will this situation will last for a long time, so this won't pass in a couple of weeks. No chance No chance. So people, we all have to get used to this new situation. And it's very, it's, people are talking 6 months, yes. So already you're seeing some businesses are going actually bankrupt, like restaurants, pubs, airplane companies, you know, things like that. And I think other businesses will actually see an increase in the demand now. I am noticing, I think, you have to excuse my English. I have to think from I have to think as well as I have to talk, you know. But for someone like me, I make my living from writing books. You know, I don't think. What I think is that since many people can, you know, you order books these days. Most people, they order books, I think, and there are audiobooks and all that. So that's one of the businesses. Not businesses. What's the word? What's the word? Like a field of like all the carpenters building houses. That's construction, right? So what's the word? Professions, industries. Yes, industries. Yes, industries. The book industry, I think, will see an increase. And also, I think, what else is there? Yeah, obvious things like, you know, survival gear. I can't. My English is a little bit lacking this morning, but survival gear, all that stuff, you know, tinned, canned foods and sleeping bags and medical supply for, you know, first aid kits and preparedness. Yes, suddenly, and I've said this for a long time, suddenly being prepared and having preparedness as something that actually matters in your life, that suddenly becomes, people understand that's actually quite sensible. Bug out bag for when SHTF, yes. We should all have that and make those. I mean, I'm going to talk a little bit about what comes next, what might come next, and it's a little bit speculative. So that's why I didn't go there in my video on the main channel. This is a lovely morning, by the way. Here's the sun. Here comes the sun. And obviously I will not be talking about what I do have in my house, what I don't have in my house, and what my plans are in different scenarios. But anyway, but thanks for asking. Okay, let's get straight to it. When the government is mentioning something and they say, we're not there yet, we hope it won't be necessary, I think they are already planning to do that if what they already have done doesn't work. What they're talking about is curfew. I had to look it up. I had to look it up. Curfew. Which will mean that it's illegal to be outside after a certain hour in the evening, I guess. So, sorry, that's my finger. Trish says, if I can read that out loud, I've been laughed at my entire life as I was raised by preppers, and I've been trying to stay ahead all my adult life. Many jokes later, I'm suddenly popular. Yeah. So I can tell you one thing that I have done. I have bought extra carbs like spaghetti and rice and stuff. That's for my parents, not for my neighbors. And it's like, this is if there's a real emergency. I hope we won't get there. I hope there won't be a shortage of food, but who knows? I'm more worried about things like curfew, because that will be very difficult for me. That will be extremely difficult, actually. So yeah, Kenneth says that they have already, and it happened very suddenly, implemented a new law that prevents people from being at their cabin, provided they live in a different county. Yes. Thanks for mentioning that, because that was when I feel everything changed for me. So up until then, the government, I felt, were, my friends. Not my friends, but how should I put it? We were working together to get through this. And I do understand the reasons for implementing a law that actually makes it illegal to go to your summer house or your mountain cabin and stay there. I do understand, because they don't want the virus to spread out from the cities to the remote areas. I understand that. But still, when they can decide where you are going to, when they can make such decisions of you, what comes next? What comes next? Yeah, Anders says it's a slippery slope. It is. So, what comes next? It's very scary, because it's almost like there's no limits to which laws and decisions they can make now. Hold on. Going to make one of those. That's my plan. Because when they are actually they're not saying they're doing this to save lives. They are actually saving lives by taking extreme measures like that. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? I know it's worth it for those people who are saved, who don't have to die because they implemented those laws. But what kind of society are we left with? What comes after this? What comes after this? So I still hope, but it's not that I think, but I hope this will pass in before the summer. You know, I think it's naive to count on that, but you got to have some kind of hope, right? So I'm saying to myself, you know, this could just all be over in a few weeks. I know, I know, I know, but I'm allowed to entertain that hope, you know. But it's very important that we follow what's happening and that we keep in mind that we can't allow ourselves to be blinded by this. So we need to understand that freedom is important, and if we give away our entire little bit of troll there. Socrates. Yeah. Yeah, try walking up a hill with a hole in your stomach. I was very lucky. I tore up probably an old injury, so I have a hernia. And I'm in a little bit of pain. So yeah, but absolutely I should get back to my training schedule. So yeah. I don't want to go to hospital now. That's not the place I want to be right now. So let's see here some of the Richard Norheimer says, it's interesting how the government can just deny me my use of my own private cottage. Ironically, I would be more isolated here than where I am now. And Numa, hello Björn, hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay. Yes, those are well, mostly pine trees around me here. Yeah, the lightning is good right now. It's not my. I can't take credit for that. I'm lucky with the sun right now. Trish says, yes, I remember. 2 weeks ago, you don't have to reschedule. Surgery, it was 2 weeks ago. I wouldn't go now for the world. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, so what comes next? I can tell you what will come next. I will have some kind of alternative in place as soon as possible. Hold on. Okay. Okay, I'm going to have some alternative plan in place, and I might sound a little bit that it's all a conspiracy. I'm being dramatic. And what else did they call me? Because people will call you things, and a lot of you know, because you have been called these names yourself. I was being over dramatic. I was being paranoid. I was a little bit not laughed at, but I'm sure there was a little bit of laughter.